Story 1. The Man in the Driveway. It was around AM when Ellie, a 19-year-old college student, was home alone. She lived in a quiet suburban area where nothing bad ever happened. Until that night, she was scrolling through her phone when she heard a soft knock on her window. Thinking it was a branch, she ignored it. But then, she heard it again. This time, louder. She peeked through the blinds and froze. A man was standing at the end of her driveway, just staring at her window. His face was hidden under a hoodie, and he didn't move. Ellie's heart raced as she called 911, whispering so he wouldn't hear. But as she did, the man began walking closer, step by step, stopping right under the porch light. She could now see his pale face, eyes wide, staring directly at her. She backed away, hiding behind the couch, listening as he tried the door handle, rattling it softly. The police arrived 10 minutes later, but it felt like hours. The man was gone, but muddy footprints were left on her porch, leading up to her window. The police told her she was lucky, because a neighbor's camera caught the man standing there for over an hour, watching her house before he finally tried to get inside. They never found out who he was. Story 2. The Knocking in the Woods. James lived in a rural cabin, surrounded by thick woods. One rainy night, he was watching TV when he heard a loud knock on the front door. It was strange because he wasn't expecting anyone, and there were no neighbors nearby. He opened the door cautiously, but no one was there. He stepped outside, looking around, but saw nothing except the rain falling into the muddy ground. As he was about to close the door, he heard a knock again, this time coming from the back door. James' heart dropped. He walked slowly through the dark hallway, approaching the back door, and heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. When he flicked on the outside light, he saw muddy footprints on the steps, but no one was there. He locked all the doors and tried to calm himself down, but then he heard tapping on the living room window. When he turned around, he saw a hand pressed against the glass, and a face staring in, rain dripping from their hair, eyes wide and empty. James called the police, and when they arrived, the person was gone. All that was left were muddy footprints circling the house, again and again. Story 3. The Shadow in the Yard. Samantha was babysitting her 5-year-old cousin when the little girl suddenly said, "There's a man in the yard." Samantha looked outside and saw nothing, but her cousin insisted. "He's standing by the tree." She stepped outside with a flashlight, sweeping it across the yard, and saw nothing. She turned to go back inside when she heard a twig snap behind her. She spun around, and there, at the edge of the yard near the trees, stood a tall, thin man, wearing all black. He didn't move, didn't say anything, just stood there. Samantha grabbed her cousin and locked all the doors, hiding in the bedroom, shaking. She called her uncle, who rushed home. When he arrived, the man was gone, but they found footprints in the dirt, leading from the tree to the window where Samantha had been sitting earlier that night. The scariest part, her cousin later said, "He comes here every night, but this time he was smiling." Call to action. If you enjoy true scary stories like these, like, subscribe, and comment below which story creeped you out the most. And remember, sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones standing just outside your window.